What is going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and this is my awesome show, Uncut Astrology, where I take off the mask and go deep behind the veil and give you this week's astrological forecast for the week of September the 14th through the 20th of 2016. And I am doing the Uncut now here in the studio live, so you're going to be able to start to watch my Uncut Tuesday nights live on my Facebook channel. It's going to be pretty cool, and I'm here in the Leo King Studios. And of course, don't forget, when you share this video, you get the opportunity to get a free reading. I pick one person a week who shares these videos, and I snail mail you a reading. So, and this has all the notes from everything that I've been going through and so forth. I literally just got back from Hope in the Desert. You can check it out on my Facebook page if you want to look at everything that's there. It's pretty awesome. All the pictures, all the cool people that I got to hang out with. Check it out on my Facebook. This is also my Facebook that you're going to want to go to for sharing and so forth. So make sure that you check that out. And this is an extremely special horoscope, mainly because this is a lunar eclipse week. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to go through. So I kind of want to just dip into this, but I want to first of all just say thank you to everybody that showed up at Hope in the Desert. So many people showed up, more than I expected. It was everything and more that I could have ever asked for. So I got to say thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Thank you for being there. It was a lot of work. Just got back, and it's going down. And this week, the astrology. Let me just say this first. I want to be a little bit serious with you all. There's a real low coming into this energy. And then there's a real high at the end of it. So don't let it overwhelm you, the low, and don't let the high be kind of manic too, because there's so much happening and it's a little bit all over the place. And I don't want people to kind of, freak out at the beginning and then get real high off it at the end. And it's like, it could be a little bit too much. And I think we need to find equilibrium, right? Our total Libra energy. Jupiter just entered Libra literally on Friday. And what a way to kind of learn how to be patient, yet at the same time understanding. And there's a lot to weigh out and there's a lot to look at. So I think that's really important to pay attention to. Now, we're going to go into the astrology, and there's a lot that's coming on the lunar eclipse on Friday to get ready for, but the main thing is the preparation for all of that. So if we look right now, here's the astrology that we're coming into for the 14th on Wednesday. It's not crazy yet. It is the Sun square Mars, though. Sun square Mars is when you're dealing with our ego, our identity, and more importantly, this feeling like you need to do things. But are you thinking it all the way through? I think that's very important. Now, it is Mercury retrograde time. There is all this energy going on where it's like, we don't understand everything yet. We're trying to figure things out, but there's this urge. There's this intensity. I mean, even for me, like let's use me for an example. The Sun square Mars energy right now is like, oh my gosh, I got to get the new live stream up after I just came back 5 days of being in Vegas. I haven't even been home yet. And here I am working. You know what I mean? So Sun square Mars has a really weird energy. You can feel real deflated. And then it could be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got to do this right now. Pay attention to this energy and find a way to make sure that you're finding, of course, that kind of Libra balance and that you're not losing it. Because if you look, the Sun square Mars is intense. It's immutable signs, and we want change. So we're like, there's a force upon wanting to make some sort of change in your life, and really fast. But you've got to look at all the details. You got to look at what that's going to do in the long term instead of trying to just go for short-term solutions. Not going to work. Especially Moon in Aquarius kind of is saying, hey, let's look at everything. Let's take a little bit of disconnect here before we just jump into that decision so fast. Now, as the week progresses, as we come into Thursday, we have the sun opposing Chiron. We have the lunar eclipse brewing, and this is in Pisces. And so it's kind of intense because when you have all this energy starting to brew around Mars, and now we have sun opposed Chiron, this is going to highlight things that haven't worked out, things that, especially wherever Neptune or wherever Chiron is in your chart. But more importantly, this is just got like so much energy that has felt like that it hasn't worked out, and your past failures coming up, or feeling like, the world that you want or the identity that you want is coming into some sort of, it's not going to happen the way I want to, and maybe I have to let that identity go. This could be a huge ego let go, which could be a little bit a little bit hard for people, I'll be honest. It could be like, oh my gosh, this is something I've really wanted so bad and I got to let it go. And part of this lunar eclipse is about that. Part of this lunar eclipse is about learning to really learn to let things go. And if they don't work out, they don't work out. That's Chiron, and it's in Pisces, and there's deep spiritual lessons all over it. But sometimes it's really hard for us to actually, be excited about that. Sometimes we don't get excited about that. Sometimes we get kind of I don't know, like we feeling like something just screwed us over, fucked us over. But really, this is us purging so much of past energy, purging so much of what just isn't the life that we really want to create, and learning that sometimes letting things go bring us into the ability to manifest the world that we really want. And so I think that's really important to pay attention to, because the world is much bigger than you think it is, and it is much wider than you think it is. And sometimes when we have this energy happening in Pisces or in Virgo with Pisces, it's almost like you get a little bit too caught up in your world not working exactly right, and then you're feeling like, this big world that you want not working out. So this is where this lunar eclipse, which I guess we should just look at it on Friday, it really is super intense, because it really highlights exact on Chiron. I mean, I gotta back it up a little bit here to get it to the exact spot, but it's not the easiest of lunar eclipses, but you know what it is? It is the biggest breakthrough of lunar eclipses, because Mars is trining Uranus through the whole thing, which I think a lot of people aren't realizing, that there is the breakthrough to the person you want to be. There is the breakthrough of the world that you want to go to, but there is this huge, extremely big wall in front of this amazing world on the other side that you are freaking out that is not going to happen, or something comes up that changes what you really wanted, but it really gets you to where you really need to go. And that's what this is about. And Jupiter in Libra is saying the right connections, the right relationships, the right things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. What's also interesting to me, if we go back, this lunar eclipse as well has Venus, which is in a quincunx with Chiron, which is in a quincunx with this lunar eclipse. I mean, it's like, and it's really intense, and it really is saying, make sure that you find that peace with whatever doesn't work, with whatever spirit has thrown your way. Because this kind of has an unpredictable energy. Uranus is with Mars. So it's going to throw out things you weren't expecting. You're going to go in a different direction. Your whole world, your identity is going to go in a different way than you thought it was going to go. And there is no predicting how this will be as far as the way you thought it would be. But there is a excitement. There is a revolution. There is a holy cow through this. And there is a massive healing that's coming through this lunar eclipse. And that's where the high starts to begin, is because post-eclipse into the weekend, man, things get really intense. Mars officially trine Uranus in full. And that's what's going to be, I think, the best part is when we actually come into Saturday, Mars is starting to trine Uranus really intensely. The moon comes into Aries, which is really strong and dominant, and Venus gets into an opposition with Uranus. If you see this, I mean, it's like, wow, now the really exciting stimulation, starts to come. And when you get all this exciting stimulation, and when you get all this energy back and this drive to get forward again in your world after whatever kind of didn't work out or whatever was weird, it's exciting. And I think it forces you to find a new beautiful world, a new beautiful self, and move into that. It's also interesting because Jupiter just entered into this Libra space, and we're finishing out Virgo, and we're in a Mercury retrograde through all the eclipses. So it's so much change from one end of the spectrum to the other that it becomes a little bit overwhelming at some times for people. But finding that peace in the middle of all the change, in the middle of when things don't work out, and then when new things work out, is necessary, because you don't want to you don't want to turn into it feeling like it's kind of like bipolar almost in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want it to come into that space. That's not a fun space to really be. You know what I mean? Like, when things get a little bit too bipolar-ish, you don't want to get it too low and then way too high, because coming into next week, you might be a little bit too rattled. We are in an eclipse period. We are in an eclipse time where everything is ultra sensitive, and especially this lunar eclipse in Pisces is ultra sensitive. This is realizing that, sensitivities are part of getting the life you want. Things not working out the way you want them to is part of getting the life you want. What a weird lesson. And whatever that ego lesson is on your own through this eclipse. Whatever that ego lesson is trying to open up doors you've never been through before. So I think that there's this, wow, I need to open up into a new place that I've never been before. And try something new, because then as we kind of exit the week and come into Monday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's really cool because all you see is positive energy. The moon conjuncts Uranus, trines Mars. There's a lot of energy on Sunday. It is intense, really positive. Venus has now come off Uranus. The moon's in Aries still, and Venus and Mars are in sextile. So I'm going to be honest, Sunday is looking like one of the most powerful days we've seen in a long time. And I think it's just really a revival from whatever goes down Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It really does pull you out. It really gives you the strength back. It really does push things at a really new high octane level. And roll with that. Roll with that positive energy. Stay going. This is the end of summer. This is the beginning of, or the end of winter on the other side of the world. And there's this kind of last hurrah here coming this weekend after such weirdness into the weekend. And if you look at Monday, once the moon comes in Taurus, we come into this grand trine and we get Mercury starting to trine over to Pluto. And there's this mental reset. There's this mental deeper understanding of a more richer world that we start to understand more and more and more in our life. And when you start to get that, you start to feel so much better. You start to feel like you're starting to enrich. The moon comes into Taurus and makes you really ground in what's important, really find what's important in the world you want, and makes you hold the line, because if you get through this week into the weekend and you still feel like you don't have the world you value the most, with the moon in Taurus and with it trining the sun in Virgo and with it trining over to also Pluto, it's like Monday is like, especially as Mars is starting to come into the end of all this, there's been a sun square Mars. This is where the volcano releases. I think some people could suppress it and try and get through this weekend, and volcanoes happen Sunday, Monday. Especially Sunday, it's like brewing, and then Monday when the moon comes in Taurus, it like realizes, holy cow, this is really what it is. So, odd week. But on the other side of this, amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. I'm like so excited for what this is going to do for people on the other side. I'm just bracing people for what it's going to do before the eclipse and during the eclipse. Comes fast. Second, when a moon's in Aquarius especially, and Mars is hitting up that Uranian energy, you know what happens? It stimulates it all. And when you get Venus opposed Uranus, Uranus is going to be part of this whole deal. We got the moon in Aquarius, and then we got the moon in Neptune. Neptune and Uranus are going to be part of this. These are outer planets. These are subconscious issues coming up. These are subconscious things. These are outer dimensions. These are alien things happening. These are, higher dimensional beings and their mission for you and your mission on Earth trying to align in the right way. And you know what? I know I might sound like a crazy man right now, but it really is the turning point. And that turning point is special. So, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next Uncut. Make sure that you share this video, of course, if you want to get the free reading and so forth. And I appreciate all that you do for subscribing to the app and being part of the app. And thank you just so much for all that you do. And I will see you on the next Uncut.